Hi friends, my name is Nandita. I am from Andhra Pradesh.
Children, now let us study about herbarium. Herbarium. Herbarium is a collection of dried plant specimens mounted on sheets of papers. The mounted plants are labeled with their proper scientific names, the names of collector, and usually information about what they were collected and how they grew and general observation. Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed, and preserved on sheets. Further, these sheets are arranged according to a universally accepted system of classification. These specimens, along with their description on herbarium sheet, become a storehouse or a repository for future use. The herbarium sheets also carry a label providing information about the data and place of collection, English and local botanical names, family, collector names, etc. Herbaria also referred as quick referral system in taxonomical studies. Children, now let us discuss what is the use of herbarium. Herbaria can be used to discover or confirm the identity of a plant or determine that it is new to science taxonomy, document the concepts of the specialists who have studied the specimens in the past taxonomy, provide a locality data for planning field trips, taxonomy, systematics, teaching, etc. Children, now let us discuss the uses of herbaria. The uses of herbaria are listed as like this. These are used for identification of plants and complication of floras, monographs and manuals are mainly based on the specimens in herbaria. Herbaria are useful in locating wild varieties and relatives of economically important plants. They help in knowing the morphological variations found in species. Herbaria are also useful for research in plant taxonomy, morphology, ecological description, etc. Children, now let us see how to make an herbarium at home. To make an herbarium, it actually involves in 5 steps. The first step is to collect where to collect and what to collect, then prepare protecting the specimens in second step, third step pressing the specimens, and fourth step mounting the specimens, fifth step freezing the specimens, and sixth step identification of the specimens. Children, now let us discuss how did this herbaria come to be. Luca Ginni, professor of medicine and botany at the University of Pisa during the 16th century, is created with the invention of the herbarium. The Italian physician and botanist Luca Ginni from 1419 to 1556 was spread over Europe by his students. At that time, such a collection of dried mounted plant specimens were known as hortus secus, means dry garden, or hortus hillimialis, means winter garden. The word herbarium was originally used to refer to a book about medicinal plants. French physician and botanist Joseph Piton de Tournefort from 1656 to 1708 is credited with first applying the term herbarium to the collection of dried pressed plants. In the earliest herbaria, seeds of pressed mounted plants were bound into the books. The famous Swiss naturalist and taxonomist Carolus Linnaeus from 1707 to 1778 was the first to keep his specimens unbounded, constructing and specialized cabinet with narrow on vertical rows of shelves on which stacks of herbarium sheets could be stored. Modern herbaria used cabinet molded after those of Linnaeus. Care is taken to protect herbarium species from agents that can be cause them to deteriorate, such as insects, light, humidity, and fluctuations in temperature. Traditionally, several plant species were glued in a decorative arrangements on a single sheet of plants. These seeds were then bound into volumes stored in a library and cited like books. Specimens were those placed into a fixed order from which they could not be removed without destroying the specimens. It was the famous Swedish naturalist Cornelius Linnaeus who advised readers of his Philosophia Botanica in 1751 to mount just one specimen per sheet and refrain from binding the sheets together. For storage of the mounted specimens, Linnaeus suggested a specially built cabinet where individual sheets could be inserted at any place, removed at any time, and reinserted again anywhere in the collection. In contrast to be bound volumes of older herbaria, the order that Linnaeus' herbarium cabinet brought to his collection was not fixed into perpetuity. This internal mobility of the herbarium could accommodate the arrival of new material and enable the user to rearrange the material to reflect new knowledge. The largest herbarium in the world is the Natural History Museum in Paris, France, with over 9.1 million species. The largest herbarium in the United States in the New York Botanical Gardens Herbarium, established in 1981, with over 7 million species. Many herbaria in the USA were established throughout the 1800s. The USA has 405 registered herbaria with a total of 59 million species, or 22% of world herbarium collections. Herbarium species include plants, conifers, ferns, mosses, liverwort, and algae, as well as fungi and leeches. Most plant specimens are derived by pressing, whereas bulker plants and most fungi are dried without pressing and are stored in boxes. Pressed specimens can be mounted on archival sheets or stored in packets, as in the case of most of the material in the Athura fungarium, for example. Children, according to the precise set of rules laid down by the International Code of Nomenclature for algae, fungi, and plants, the scientific names of every taxon is almost always based on one particular specimen. This is usually a physical specimen that must be accessorized in a museum or herbarium research collection. There are of great significance when identifying material. A researcher attempts to apply a taxon name not to a specimen group of specimens, and this will be based on their understanding of a relevant taxa, using the type of description, but preferably based on an examination of all the type of material of all the relevant taxa. If the taxon appears not to have been named, then the scientist or another expert designates a type of specimen and publishes a new name and an official description. This process is crucial to the science of biological taxonomy and the biology as a whole, and this type of collections are considered the linchpin of biological researchers. Now let us discuss the types of types. There are actually several types of types. Here are the definitions of some types. The first one is holotype. When a single specimen is clearly designated in the original description, this specimen is known as the holotype of the species. Next one is isotype, and any duplicate specimen of the holotype. The third one is lectotype. Designated as the type when no holotype was identified by the original author, or when the holotype is lost or destroyed. It is chosen from among the specimens available to the original publishing author. The next one is Scent type. Any two or more specimens listed in the original description of a taxa when a holotype was not designated. Another one is isoscent type, a duplicate of scent type. The next one is paratype, a specimen not formally designated has a type but cited along with the type of collection in the original description of a taxon. The next one is neotype, a specimen chosen by a later researcher to serve in a place of a holotype when all the specimens available to the original publishing author of a specific name have been lost or destroyed. Topotype, a specimen of a plant collected from the same locality, has a holotype and usually on different date. A topotype has no formal standing. The last one is cotype, a term formerly used for syntype and sometimes for isotype and paratype. This is an old term that was used loosely and it is not used by today's taxonomist. Children, now let us discuss what can we do with a herbarium collection. We can use this herbarium collection for basic functions and research work, and it also facilitates the discovery or confirmation of a new species and provides ecological and range data for existing species. Watcher scientific research, and is also repository for a type of specimens, and it provide information on rare or extinct species, and it gives material for morphological studies and documentation of flowering and fruiting names. It also gives spaces, locality and data. It provides data for agricultural, human health, biosecurity, forensics, control of invasive species, conservation of biology, natural resource and land management, and it also gives DNA analysis and sequence, and it gives document specialist concepts, and it provides information on predators, pathogens and symbionts that may have been collected with the specimen, and it gives document CO2 changes and minor cycles in climate, and it gives information on expeditions and explorers and education and training, material for teaching. It also gives helpful for research projects, and it run published works and awareness programs, internships and jobs, specimens for museum and educational exhibits. Thank you.